Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you've ever spent time building any kind of web automation, you know that feeling, right? That pain when your bot works perfectly one day and is totally broken the next. Well, today, we're going to dive into how to build smarter, way more resilient web bots using the newest AI agent frameworks. Let's jump right in. So, let's start with a problem that I know we've all run into. You code this beautiful script, it's designed to grab some data or fill out a form, and it works. It's amazing. But then the website you're targeting pushes a tiny update. They change a button, they move a div around, and boom, your bot is completely clueless. It just grinds to a halt. It's this constant, super frustrating cycle of building and fixing. But what if there was a fundamentally better way to do this? And this slide, this right here, just shows the whole shift perfectly. The old way, that was all about these rigid, brittle selectors. You were basically giving your bot a super specific turn-by-turn set of directions. Click on the third box inside the second container. You can see how fragile that is. If anything on the page changes, those directions are useless. The new way, the AI-driven way, is all about intent. You just tell the bot what you want to accomplish, like click the sign in button, and it's smart enough to figure out how to do it no matter how the page is laid out. It's a total game changer. Okay, so if we're making this jump from rigid instructions to these high-level goals, how do we actually build an AI that can handle that? Well, that brings us to this really powerful new way of thinking about architecture, a model we can call an AI's brain and hands. This is really the new paradigm for doing smart automation right. The official name for this is the orchestration and action paradigm. Now, the core idea is actually pretty simple, but it is revolutionary. You separate the thinking from the doing. All the AI's cognitive heavy lifting, the planning, the reasoning, the strategy, that's kept totally separate from the tools it uses to actually interact with the world, like a web browser. So let's break that down with our metaphor. You've got the brain. That's your orchestration layer. Think of it as the mission commander, the strategist. It takes your high-level goal, breaks it down into steps, and figures out what needs to happen next. And then you've got the hands. That's the action layer. This is a specialized tool that is an absolute expert at one thing. In our case, flawlessly clicking buttons, typing in fields, and scraping text from a website. Okay, so this brain and hands idea is a fantastic concept, right? But how does it actually play out in the real world? To build anything great, you've got to have the right tools. So let's take a look at the actual frameworks out there that you can use to build your own champion automations. We're going to look at four main strategies here, and you can kind of think of them like building a project team. First, you could have a tightly integrated duo, like Mastra and Stagehand. Or you could have a solo expert, Stagehand, just tackling the job by itself. Then there's the big company approach, a generalist powerhouse like LangChain that brings in a specialist contractor. And finally, you've got the up-and-comer, VoltAgent, which lets you build your own custom support crew. Now, to make this really concrete, we're not just going to talk theory. We're going to put these frameworks head-to-head in a classic real-world business scenario, automatically finding and qualifying sales leads from company websites. I mean, this is the perfect stress test for their web browsing smarts and their data extraction skills. Let the showdown begin. Okay, now this table is where things get really interesting because it lays out all the trade-offs. First thing to notice, anything using Stagehand for the hands gets an excellent for web reliability. That tool is just that good. Now look at the Mastra and Stagehand combo. It really hits a sweet spot. Excellent developer experience, and the complexity is manageable. LangChain, on the other hand, it gives you access to this massive ecosystem of tools, but you pay for it with way higher complexity. It's a classic trade-off. So for our specific lead gen task, the winner is pretty clear. It's that Mastra and Stagehand combo. It just hits that perfect balance of power and developer friendliness. But saying it's the winner is one thing. What does that winning workflow actually look like when it's running? Let's see it. The whole process really just looks like a clean conversation between the brain and the hands. The Mastra brain kicks it off. Hey, navigate to this website. The Stagehand hands goes and does it, then reports back. Done. Here's the content. Mastra then analyzes that content and gives the next order. Okay, based on this, find me the contact email. Stagehand uses its expertise to extract it perfectly. And finally, Mastra takes all those pieces and assembles the final structured report. It's this beautiful, efficient loop. The brain directs, the hands act. This winning combination, it actually points to a much bigger idea. The pattern we're seeing here isn't just for building better web bots. This whole brain and hands model really gives us a glimpse into the future of how we're going to build all kinds of powerful AI applications. So here it is, the key takeaway. The most robust, the most scalable, and honestly, the sanest approach is to pair a smart orchestrator, the brain, with a best-in-class specialist tool, the hands. You stop trying to build one giant AI that's just mediocre at everything. Instead, you build a team of experts. You get a great manager, and then you give that manager a world-class operator to get the job done. And this quote from the source analysis just nails it. Why would you try to solve the incredibly difficult, nuanced problems of browser automation all by yourself when there's a team out there whose entire job, their sole dedication, is to perfect it? By plugging in a specialist tool like Stagehand, the brain framework, Mastra, in our case, gets to focus on what it does best, high-level strategy and managing the workflow. So, what do you really need to take away from all this? First, start thinking in terms of brain and hands. Always separate your AI's logic from its actions. Second, don't reinvent the wheel. Find and use specialized, best-in-class tools for the really hard parts. This whole approach doesn't just make your bots work a little better. It fundamentally reduces their fragility, and believe me, it will save you from countless maintenance headaches down the road. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. We've just seen what a great pair of hands for web browsing can unlock. But just imagine giving an AI brain a whole toolkit of different specialized hands. Hands for talking to databases, hands for analyzing complex spreadsheets, hands for sending perfectly crafted emails, maybe even hands for controlling physical robots. As these specialized tools get better and better, what problems that seem incredibly hard today will become just trivially easy tomorrow. It's pretty exciting to think about.